What's up guys, DuArktik here with another Marvel Strike Force video, and in this video we are going to talk about the X-Men rework and if you should invest on these characters or not, the problems that the reworks brought to the table, and the lack of anything interesting with these reworks. The developers mentioned a while ago that yes, X-Men characters were going to get a rework. It was not going to be as good as the Sinister Six, but then why to rework X-Men in the first place? Is it to make them a better Blitz team? Because beyond the Blitz, they are not that great. Apart from a few specific situations where you might be able to use these characters, they actually don't have a lot of value, and the investment that you have to do is just gigantic, especially when it comes to T4s. So we're gonna break down all the information that you need to know, and then you have to decide for yourself if this is something that you are going to do or not, and then I'm gonna give you my personal opinion. Tomorrow we're gonna have another video on this topic with the rework that I would have liked to see on these characters to make them unique and at the same time have their own individual value. So make sure to stay tuned for tomorrow video where well, I'm gonna give you those kits, and then I'm gonna share it with the match sheets, and maybe he will be able to implement it in the game after he sees the disappointment that people have on these videos. So as always, if you like the information on these videos, make sure you share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe for more Mouse Force content, and make sure you smash that like button like a boss. Okay, so in terms of the X-Men rework, these characters that we have right here, so Jubilee, Phoenix, Kitty Pryde, X-23 and Colossus. These characters are part of different teams. We have Astonishing, we have Uncanny, and we have X-Force. And because of that, they have a lot of limitations on their passives. And while the developers gave a little bit of incentive to make you put these characters together, it's just not good enough. And especially with the Jubilee as a legendary character, and we're going to talk about Phoenix as well, but two legendary characters that got reworked and they still have huge limitations. And especially Jubilee, she still has so much stuff behind the raid game mode. No one is using her in raids, so why not to make this available everywhere, even if it would be to a lesser degree like we have seen with other characters. Beyond that, the changes that they did to the ultimate were decent. The special was okay, but not a lot, especially because she only spreads 3 negative effects, and in today's meta 3 negative effects is literally nothing. And she still has a 70% chance to apply blind, which once again in raids always lands, so it should be also the same on all game modes, at least on assist. So Jubilee as a whole, big disappointment, and the biggest reason why she is such a disappointment is because of her speed. She still has a speed of 100. Why? Even if she would get the speed bonus that she gets in raids, which is 20%, she would still be at 120% speed, which is not remarkable by any means. She would still be a slow character for today's meta. So these changes that they made to her kit are pretty much meaningless, because she's never going to have a turn. If you bring this character to a match, she never takes a turn. The only thing that she brings to the table is the assist chance on X-Men allies. That's the only thing. So similar to Storm, we have a chance of assist, or with Jubilee is up to 100%, but you don't know for sure which character is going to assist. Is it going to be Gambit? Is it going to be Forge? Is it going to be Dazzler? Is it going to be whoever? We don't know for sure. And the fact that it's such RNG mechanic, we cannot praise Jubilee for something that it's 20% chance to happen the effect that you want. So overall, Jubilee rework, big disappointment. The stats are good, but I mean that's the minimum we can expect, is the characters to have updated stats. Okay, now we're gonna take a look at Phoenix, and they did a few changes to Phoenix. In my opinion, not enough. And Phoenix is still a character that is a summon. Big mistake. They need to make her empowered. Once again, make sure to check out the video for tomorrow, where I'll break down how I would change Phoenix from summon to empowered, and she would be way much better. So anyway, we still have XMen damage and health being given away for everyone. Now it's not only uncanny, which is a good thing. She still gets the taunt, she gives defense up. The ultimate is a little bit better, clears negative effects from the XMen allies. The problem is that Phoenix, like Jubilee, is a very slow character. Tomorrow I'm going to tell you how I will fix this. And then we have a special that still applies stealth and defense up for all allies, heals XMen allies and redistributes the health, all these things that she does. And now she also attacks and she also spreads negative effects. This is great, but once again it has some limitations which should have been changed. And once again, tomorrow I'm going to tell you how. So after she does all of this, which is pretty much not a lot, because once again her speed is mediocre at best, 118. It's just so slow. It doesn't make any sense in today's meta. Because of this, she's not going to do much in the normal phase. Then when you get her to Dark Phoenix, the passive still does the same thing, which in my opinion is not enough. The special now is a lot better, because when you do the special, she's going to get speed up, and this is a good thing because she takes so long from going to the special to the ultimate, and many times because she has so trash stats and she has no deflects and she has no defense up, then she dies right away. You don't even have a chance of doing the ultimate. So now they gave her speed up, which is nice, and then the ultimate is going to give her more energy, which if she's still alive, she's going to be able to do a special once again and recover the health once again. So these are some good mechanics, but once again, I think it really felt short, and especially because the speed of Dark Phoenix, it's even slower. It's even slower than the normal Phoenix. So because of this, it's really terrible. Once again, check out tomorrow's video to see what I would change to Phoenix to make her better and make them more unique. Because once again, Jubilee, Phoenix, and so on, they have huge problems. We'll talk about the biggest problem in a second. Okay, so Kitty Pryde. Kitty Pryde is actually one of the best characters from this rework. She becomes very powerful. She has a chance of giving evades. When a character evades, she's going to heal up. If you put it together with characters that also provides evades, like Forge, like Nightcrawler, and so on, she becomes very good. And even at level 85, gear tier 15, she was able to keep up with other characters at gear tier 17 and gear tier 18. So that's quite remarkable. In terms of the ultimate, a few changes. Once again, I don't think it's enough. They reduced some of the limitations that she had. The special, same thing. It's a little bit better, but not a lot. And the basic now is a lot better, because now she's going to apply speed up to Colossus and one random X-Men character that does not have speed up. So this is very good. The problem is that this assist chance is going to be with Jubilee, or if you have her as a striker. And you cannot have all the characters as strikers, because they don't have good mechanics to apply vulnerabilities. So because of that, or you put them together with like Gambit or Nightcrawler or some other raider that applies a ton of vulnerabilities. Otherwise, you cannot really benefit out of the mechanics that these guys have on their basics. So this is going to create a lot of problems with ISO 8s and switching around and not being able to fully capitalize on the ISO 8. Other problem that Kitty Pryde has is her speed. Her speed is just atrocious, 105. It's beyond terrible, and it doesn't even make sense. If she starts with her ultimate, why is she so slow? If she would be slow, it would make sense for her to be slow if she would start with a special, but no, she starts with the ultimate. So it absolutely makes no sense why is she so slow, and that's something that they should have changed from their kits. X23 is the only character that really stands on its own. is able to do some funny things if you put the T4s into it, by the way. And X23 might also have some synergies with the Domino and the Deadpool that supposedly, based on rumors, are going to get a rework next patch. So this is going, she on her own has some individual value. She has death proofs now, she has evades now, so similar like Lady Deathstrike, she has a lot more survivability. Now her ultimate also gives her drain. Of course, if you want more drain, you have to do the T4 because it does more damage. She has piercing damage, so overall X23 is the only character that really can stand on its own, and the ISO 8 is not a problem. The only problem is really the T4s. More T4s for these characters. And then we have Colossus. Colossus, once again, it's okay. Nothing special about him. They reduced some of the limitations that he had in the past. Now he requires a ton of T4s, probably most of the T4s, which is another problem with his team. And the ISO 8, now he can use multiple options. He can be a striker, he can be a skirmisher, he can be a healer, even a fortifier. I would just not recommend the Raider ISO 8 for him. So overall, this is pretty much a nothing burger. Except X23, none of these characters can stand on their own, whether it is because of the lack of value on their kits or because their stats in terms of speed are just not good enough. Once again, this team requires tons and tons of T4s for them to activate the new mechanics, and then they have other problem, which is not a problem of just these characters, is the problem of the entire X-Men faction, which is, if you don't have Nightcrawler or Forge on the team is trash. Let's be honest, it's the reality of it. If you don't have Nightcrawler, if you don't have Forge, Unlimited sucks. If you don't have Nightcrawler, if you don't have Forge, Uncanny sucks. If you don't have Nightcrawler, if you don't have Forge, the Astonishing X-Men sucks. And that's pretty much like, and the extreme, of course. If you don't have Nightcrawler and if you don't have Forge, you don't have extreme X-Men. You just have 3 characters that absolutely suck. So that's a major problem with the X-Men faction, is that they all rely on Forge and on Nightcrawler. None of these characters and none of these teams have their own individual value that allows them to be good. Yes, if you made Jubilee better, yes, you can still put Jubilee with Forge. Yes, if you make Phoenix better, you could still make a super team with Nightcrawler and Forge. Yes, you could still do all of that. But the problem right now is that we can make a super team, and then everything else is trash because they don't have Nightcrawler and Forge, and that's a huge problem. And we didn't see something like this with the Superior 6 or the Sinister 6. If you have Vulture, you have a team. If you have Lizard, you have a team. If you have a Green Goblin, you have a team. So based on 3 different characters, you could have 3 different teams, and here it's not the case. It's all relying on Nightcrawler and on Forge. Forge because he heals, he gives barrier, he gives buffs, he clears negative effects away. That's another problem with this team, is that they don't clear a lot of negative effects away. And then Nightcrawler, he gives speed bar, which is what this team needs. This team has no speed, so they get destroyed right away. It doesn't make any sense why this team is so slow. And the Nightcrawler also provides the stun, he also provides more evades, and his ultimate slows the enemies and clears their positive effects away. So a lot of things that 2 characters alone are doing for a total of 20 characters plus. Like, you have so many X-Men characters, and everyone is relying on Nightcrawler and on Forge. So this is absolute trash, and this is why I beg you to check out the video that I'm going to upload tomorrow about this topic, on how I do change the kits. And I'm even gonna send these to match sheets on Facebook or on Twitter or something like that, so maybe I have a chance that he checks it out. And make sure you let them know in the comments below or on Discord or wherever that this kind of reworks is absolutely pointless, and it's offensive. I find it offensive because of the cost that it has. Let's talk about the cost. Okay, so we're gonna take a look at one of my spreadsheets. So we can see right here the stats of these characters. The stats of the characters are up to date to the current meta, which is okay. Colossus requires 4 sets of Mini-Uniques, Jubilee requires 4 sets of Mini-Uniques, Kitty Pryde requires 4 sets of Mini-Uniques, Phoenix and X23 require 3 sets of Mini-Uniques. So this team in terms of cost is very above average. On top of that, they also spend some of those centerpiece uniques that are quite rare, like Titanium Alloy, we have Luminium, we have Miasma, Astral Energy and Adamantium. Titanium Alloy is going to be required for Iron Patriot, which is required for the next legendary character. Luminium is used by Nakia and also by Black Cat, 2 important characters for everywhere in today's meta. Then we have Kitty Pryde with Miasma. I mean, yeah, I think everyone knows that everyone requires Miasma. We have Dormammu, we have Doctor Doom, we have all the Ghost Riders. So another character that requires Miasma and the value is just not there. And then we have Phoenix, Astral Energy, Apocalypse requires Astral Energy, Cosmic requires Astral Energy, Psylocke requires Astral Energy, the Sunspot requires Astral Energy, so a ton of meta characters that require Astral Energy. And here we have another character consuming Astral Energy that is not bringing a lot to the table. So the cost in terms of gear and also in terms of gold is just gigantic. We have to get up most of these characters from level 80 or lower to level 95. That's going to be over 7 or 8 million gold per character. So you're going to be spending over 4 million gold up to 40 or 50 million gold to invest on this team. It doesn't make sense. And then we have the cost with the T4s. So if you invested these characters in the past, you are going to do a T4 investment of 2,400, and this is already skipping some T4s that have some value. If you started this team from zero, if you started these 5 characters from zero, you'll have to spend 4,000 T4s. This is just absolutely ridiculous. It's just so expensive. It doesn't make any sense. And the characters are not even good. The characters are not even good. So once again, check out the video tomorrow to see the kits that I will do for these characters. And finally, we have the ISO 8. We don't even know what the ISO 8 does, but I was testing it out. X23 still gains Evade, Honor Basic, but if you use the Basic and the Striker ISO 8 at the same time, she only gets 1 Evade. So pay attention to that. Kitty Pryde, she also gives speed up to Colossus with the Striker ISO 8. Colossus also applies the 3 negative effects. Jubilee still has the chance of blinding, and Phoenix cleared the buffs from the enemies. So overall, you might have to change the ISO 8 of all these characters because of these huge changes. Insane, absolutely insane cost in terms of T4s, over 2,000 T4s for these characters in case you worked them in the past. And once again, in my opinion, huge disappointment when it comes to their kits and what are they able to do, because once again they are way too slow, they are way too dependent on Nightcrawler and Forge, and because of that, once again we are back to having a super team. And we don't have the plug and play value or theory crafting with these characters because it's just not there. It just doesn't exist because, once again, rely on Nightcrawler and Forge. So you guys let me know in the comments below what you think about these characters. Are you going to invest on them or not? Personally, I'm not going to invest in them. Maybe on X23, but on the other characters, absolutely not. And until we have some serious rework to them, it doesn't matter. I don't care if Professor X is coming like in 3 months or so, because he's probably not going to be able to be unlocked right away. And because of that, you just gave me a few more tools to make good Blitz teams. But that's all for now, guys. So let me know in the comments below what you think about this rework. Are you guys going to invest on them or not? And as always, if you like the information on these videos, make sure to share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe for more Mouse Strike Force content. And I'll catch you guys later.